fresh airwaves on 88.5.
Sunset News is brought to you with the compliments of Absa. Absa, bringing your possibilities to life.
Turn banking on its head with the card that approaches things from a different angle. Leave ordinary behind with the vertical card from Absa. It's next generation banking. Now you can shop online conveniently and securely. Get free swipes, access cash at ATMs, and enjoy even greater safety with PIN and chip security. It's the safer, faster way to get things done. Apply for your vertical card today. That's Africanacity. That's Absa. Terms and conditions apply.
The news.
Good afternoon. Pardon me, good evening, and welcome to the Sunfm Sunset News. To present it, my name is Bridget Kapopo. A look at the headlines. Government upholds the relaunch of the Zambia airline. Clinical Officers Association of Zambia accuses government of neglecting members. The Zambia Institute of Governance and Civil Liberties Advocacy Platforms calls for immediate opening of Parliament. And in sport, finishing Premier League season will be good for football, says Marino. This news broadcast is proudly brought to you by Absa Bank.
The news, 88.5 Sun FM.
And now for the news in detail. The Health Professions Council of Zambia, HPCZ, is investigating reports of some health facilities sending away patients for not wearing face masks. HPCZ Registrar and Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Wembia Walia, disclosed that the council has received several complaints from members of the public of patients being denied access to medical care because they lacked face masks. Mr. Walia said the wearing of face masks is mandatory, but refusing to provide healthcare service to a patient for not having a mask is unethical. He said health practitioners or members of staff at health facilities must utilize the situation to sensitize patients and the general public on the importance of wearing masks to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Meanwhile, the HPCZ Registrar and Chief Executive Officer has applauded President Edgar Lungu's directive through the Ministry of Health to recruit 400 doctors and 3,000 other health workers. He said it is HPCZ's hope that the health workers are recruited and deployed as soon as possible to mitigate the current shortages of human resource in the health sector. Mr. Wale was speaking during a media briefing in Mansa, Luapula province. HPCZ was in the province to assess preparedness of health facilities for COVID-19. Despite the call by many stakeholders to uphold the relaunch of the Zambia airline scheduled for this year, government says it will proceed with the process. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Transport and Communication said that Zambia would not hold the relaunch of the airline, stating that COVID-19 would not have an effect on the launch. He noted that there were measures that were put in place to ensure that the spread of COVID was minimized in the sector. Zambia is scheduled to relaunch its airlines later this year, but different stakeholders have called on a postponement of the launch, owing to the fact that most airlines nationwide were closed due to the outbreak of coronavirus. But the Permanent Secretary explained that it was a good opportunity for Zambia to launch the airline, further stating that it was a reliable mode of transport.
Airlines is still running in the midst of COVID because you just need reliable transport to take products to the market. Why haven't we? Yes, we want to agree that COVID is an issue, but there are protocols that have been put in place in aviation to ensure that we minimize the spread of COVID. I think COVID-19 doesn't have an impact on the relaunch of the airline. We are given a direction that we need to continue and do it sooner than later because it's important, and more so that the space has been created that now we'll start from the same line. With the COVID, the start mark has been drawn for most players in the market.
The Clinical Officers Association of Zambia has expressed concern that government, through the Ministry of Health, has continued to neglect the deployment of clinical officers when health facilities actually need their services. National Publicity Secretary Joseph Kamfwa explains that about 11,000 of its members are readily available and seeking employment. He hopes that with the recent recruitment of health workers in helping to fight against COVID-19 would have enabled government include clinical officers, but to no avail. Government last deployed clinical officers between 2015 and 2016 during the mass health workers recruitment, where 4,800 were deployed, leaving a gap of about 63% according to the 2017 to 2021 National Health Strategic Plan.
Despite being the biggest establishment in the government in terms of the Ministry of Health itself, so they are frontline health workers who provide 80% of services to everyone who's visiting health facilities. The Health Professional Council of Zambia, which the permanent secretary is a chairman of, benefits 75% of its budget from the clinical officers, because I'm seeing things going in a way that they are not supposed to go. Nurses are not trained to see clients at OPD, and these nurses who are supposed to provide nursing services are providing clinical services which are supposed to be provided by a clinical officer.
And in response, Dr. Chitale Chulufya recognized the importance of clinical officers, further stating that they are part of health workers recently recruited in helping fight COVID-19. The Zambia Institute of Governance and Civil Liberties Advocacy Platform, ZIG-CLAP, has called for the immediate opening of Parliament to allow for the continued business in the House. The Zambia Institute of Governance and Civil Liberties Advocacy Platform Chief Executive Officer Francis Chipili notes that Parliament has maintained at high cost to the National Treasury. Therefore, it was prudent that Parliament resumes sitting since the country was not on a total lockdown. He added that the people must not be made finance an indefinite leave of the House while government maintains its position of allowing the economy to continue functioning. Mr. Chipili further said that the country has sufficient resources and facilities to ensure that parliamentarians are adequately protected from COVID-19 infections.
ZICLAP demands for the immediate opening of Parliament. The Zambian Institute of Governance and Civil Liberties Advocacy Platform, ZICLAP, calls for the immediate opening of Parliament to allow for the continued business in the House. ZICLAP notes that Parliament is maintained at high cost to the National Treasury, and so it's prudent that Parliament resumes sitting since the country is not on a total lockdown. The people must not be made to finance an indefinite leave of the House, while government maintains its position of allowing the economy to continue functioning. The country has sufficient resources and facilities to ensure that parliamentarians are adequately protected from COVID-19 infections. We have Parliament Montero, which was built to respond to the needs of parliamentarians while on official duty.
We take a short break, and when we return, sports news.
Turn banking on its head with the card that approaches things from a different angle. Leave ordinary behind with the vertical card from Absa. It's next generation banking. Now you can shop online conveniently and securely. Get free swipes, access cash at ATMs, and enjoy even greater safety with PIN and chip security. It's the safer, faster way to get things done. Apply for your vertical card today. That's Africanacity. That's Absa. Terms and conditions apply.
And finally, in sports news, Tottenham Hotspur manager Jose Mourinho believes resuming the Premier League season halted due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and playing it to completion will be good for the sport. Soccer in England was suspended indefinitely last month due to the novel coronavirus outbreak, which has caused more than 26,000 deaths in the United Kingdom. Premier League clubs are set to meet on Friday to discuss ways to finish the season. Spurs, a first-team squad, returned to the club's facilities for individual training sessions this week as they prepared for a possible resumption. The suspension has given Spurs injured players such as Harry Kane, Musa Sissoko, and Stephen Berwin time to recover, but Mourinho said he was unsure of how long it would be before they were able to play competitive football again. Spurs were 8th in the Premier League standing with 41 points, 7 points adrift of 4th before the season was suspended. And that brings us to the end of the Sunfm Sunset News. The headlines once again. The Clinical Officers Association of Zambia has expressed concern that government through the Ministry of Health has continued to neglect the deployment of clinical officers when health facilities actually need their services. The Zambia Institute of Governance and Civil Liberties Advocacy Platform has called for the immediate opening of Parliament to allow for the continued business in the House. Despite the call by many stakeholders to hold the relaunch of the Zambia Airlines scheduled for this year, government says it will proceed with the process. One of the few African countries without any reports of coronavirus has now confirmed its first case, as Comoros President Azali Assoumani says the patient came in contact with a French Comorian national who had recently traveled to France before being hospitalized on 23rd April. And in sports, Tottenham Hotspur manager Jose Mourinho believes resuming the Premier League season halted due to the COVID-19 pandemic and playing it to completion will be good for the sports. On behalf of the entire news crew and the production crew, thank you so much for listening to the Sunfm Sunset News. This news broadcast was proudly brought to you by Absa Bank. My name is Bridget Kapopo. Good evening.
Sun FM.
Sunset News was brought to you with the compliments of Absa. Absa, bringing your possibilities to life.
Unlock banking with your fingerprint and get more done in a flash. Now you can access the Absa mobile banking app using your fingerprint. That's right. A touch is all it takes to start paying bills, buying airtime, transacting, and so much more. Enjoy the convenience and control you want with cutting-edge banking that's designed to get things done. Download the Absa mobile banking app today. That's Africanacity. That's Absa. Feature available on certain mobile phones and operating systems. T's and C's apply.
Taking shots in here. You want one?